Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and Chief Operating Officer, Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Wow, what a crowd. Good morning, And thank you for joining us this morning. This is going to be a big day for Nintendo. We really do believe it's going to be a big day for each and every one of you as well. And that's because you'll get to experience today not just a new technology, a new device, but the opening of a vast new world in 3D entertainment. Some of the game names may be familiar to you, but the experience truly is a game changer. What you'll be holding in your hands in just a little while is a truly unique experience. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's a category of one. And because it's entertainment that doesn't just request your attention, it actually pulls you in. So let me begin by trying to put the Nintendo 3DS in proper perspective. Many believe the so-called modern era of video games was born in the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles during E3 week of 1996. And that's when Westerners got their first glimpse of true 3D rendered graphics with Super Mario 64. Not only could players move Mario left and right and forward and back, but they could also shift the viewpoint of the camera at the same time. Stage 2 came with the arrival of the original Nintendo DS system, when the same kinds of games could be carried in your pocket and played by touch and even voice. Then in 2006, many of you were on hand to see the page turn yet again with the debut of the Wii remote controller. Not only were the game characters moving, but now the game players were as well. And that brings us to today and the next big step in the modern era of video games, Nintendo 3DS. What you'll recognize is that this is a different kind of 3D, something that you haven't experienced before, not in theaters, not on trade shows. And the most obvious change, of course, is no glasses. Nothing comes between you and your gaming passion. But as we'll discuss in a little while, the experience is customizable. You adjust the 3D to meet your needs. One size doesn't have to fit all. But since this adjustment is so simple and the reward so immediate, it couldn't be easier to use. So right off the bat, it's mass market ready. Now, there are three immediate payoffs to 3D. And the first, obviously, is games. But while Nintendo is recognized by so many as first a video game company, we've always seen ourselves as part of a much larger entertainment industry. And so while the Nintendo 3DS video games will be eye-popping all by themselves, the system also offers more than enough, even for people who've never played a video game before. And that's because, second, it can also deliver 3D video playback capability. And third, Nintendo 3DS also provides immediate 3D photography and 3D display of those pictures. So as an example, maybe some of you are lucky enough to have a youngster at home. So of course, you're taking lots of pictures. But wouldn't it be great to have a realistic 3D picture of your child and to play it back on the same device for years to come? There's one more thing that Nintendo 3DS delivers right out of the box. Nintendo 3DS is simply a different animal. It's inherently social. It's connected, and will drive connected experiences like no Nintendo device before. It's not just diversion, it's immersion. It will pull you in. So today, we'll be announcing price, launch date, titles in the launch window, and other important news. But by our estimate, less than half of you here today have ever seen a Nintendo 3DS in person, much less work the controls. So before the curtains part, we want to take you on a quick guided tour of the system.
This is Nintendo 3DS. As you get acquainted, you'll notice that some things are very familiar and that some are new not only for Nintendo, but for any existing portable entertainment. Here in America, Nintendo 3DS will be available at launch in two colors, Aqua Blue and Cosmo Black. The most obvious elements are the two screens, very similar in positioning to the DSi, with the touchscreen on the bottom and the 3D display on top. The touchscreen operates the same way it does for the current DS line, but Nintendo 3DS features a telescoping stylus. That top screen is about 10% larger than the one on your DSi, and even in 2D mode, it displays visuals like no portable before. Picture quality you could only enjoy on a home console until recently now travels with you wherever you go. But 3D, of course, takes it to an entirely new level. When those 3D images first appear, it's unique, and the impression doesn't go away. With Nintendo 3DS, there's backwards compatibility. The game card slot on the back will accept not only your Nintendo 3DS games, but also your Nintendo DS games, including DSi download game compatibility. And there's also an SD memory card slot. A 2 gig card comes with the system, and of course, you can choose to upgrade from there. The basic controls will be familiar: A, B, X, and Y on the right, as well as the left and right buttons. On the opposing side, you'll also recognize the plus control pad. As you can see, to this point, there's no learning curve required to put Nintendo 3DS through its game paces. It works just like your current DS. But a new addition does come into play, and it's an important one: that analog circle pad just above the plus pad. From a gameplay standpoint, it opens up new worlds. It can be employed by designers for precise movement of characters, or the camera, or other innovations. Meanwhile, inside, two other elements are at work. A built-in accelerometer and gyroscope react to the motion and tilt of the system. So whether players are twisting their system side to side or moving them up and down, their motion-compatible Nintendo 3DS games respond instantly. The system is packaged with its own charging cradle, allowing the Nintendo 3DS to remain in sleep mode indefinitely. Next, here are 3 little things that mean a lot. Right in the center, on the bottom, is a new Home button. For Nintendo 3DS games, pressing it, even in the middle of gameplay, will pause all action and take you to the Home menu at the top. There, you'll be able to quickly switch to other applications or features while your game waits. You can just as easily switch back without losing a thing. On the upper right of the hardware, there's a notification light that signals new levels of automatic connectivity. It illuminates in 4 different ways to let you know what's been communicated. Street Pass is our name for enhanced automatic local area connection between Nintendo 3DS devices, even when they're in sleep mode. And unlike the tag mode used with some previous DS titles, data is now exchanged hardware to hardware, regardless of what game is inserted. Let me finish with the features that truly flip the page. 3D is a wonderful experience, but it doesn't work the same way for everyone. We've answered this issue with the 3D depth slider, located just right of the screen. If you want, you can even turn off the 3D altogether, and what remains is a bright, crisp 2D display. But the depth slider works to adjust 3D to any degree you like. Control is entirely customizable. And of course, it never requires you to put on a pair of those fashionable 3D glasses. This 3D is natural and fully flexible. Now, let's look at the 3 cameras. The first is inward-facing, situated just above the screen. This allows you to photograph your own image and even insert it into some games. On the outside are 2 outward-facing cameras to allow for 3D photography. While these 2 cameras let developers explore new forms of game design, they're also important in their own right. 3D photography and display is a compelling feature for every potential purchaser, whether they consider themselves gamers yet or not. Nintendo 3DS, it's a game changer.
So of course, for most Nintendo fans, games are the bottom line. So let's take a few minutes right now to talk about the games. As we've mentioned before, the launch support from both Nintendo and our third parties is absolutely robust. And I'm going to focus right now on the handful of key titles that you'll be playing today. So let's start on the first party side with both a name and a game environment that are already familiar to you. Pilot Wings Resort will have you soaring through the same Woohoo Island that you know from Wii Fit and Wii Sports Resort. You've got the choice of just floating over the island, casually seeing the sights, or competing to hit targets using your hang glider, rocket belt, or airplane. What makes all of this new is going airborne in full 3D. The early title, with maybe the broadest immediate appeal, is Nintendogs plus Cats. The original, of course, left some cat lovers feeling a little left out, but now that's solved. So just like real life, the puppies will beg for attention and affection, while you're going to have to work a little harder to find love from your kitten. And what's really noticeable here is the impact of that display screen and its underlying technology. In the original DS game, 2 versions of the same breed would differ only slightly in coloration. So your yellow lab looked pretty much like mine. But now with Nintendo 3DS, not only does the fur look absolutely petable, but we've built in a wide variety of body size, body shape, leg length, etc. And the puppies and kittens can find you. They'll remember your face. So if you put your face closer, they may even lick you. But it's unlikely that my dog is going to respond nearly as well to you as he will to me. And in fact, if he's never seen you before, the first time you call him over, he may get scared and bark. So let's move on to one more Nintendo published title. Some of you may remember a tech demo that we showed when the Nintendo DS system was first coming on the scene. You used a touchscreen to maneuver a submarine through reefs and shoals and to fire off torpedoes. It's finally preparing to surface as a Nintendo 3DS title called Steel Diver, and it looks even better in 3D. But beyond what you've seen before, we've got an entirely new gameplay level for you today. You'll be looking through a periscope at a sea of enemy ships, but you won't need the circle pad to aim. Using the system's built-in gyroscope, you'll rotate your body to turn the periscope and target. So if you're one of those people who loves spinning around in your office chair, we've got a perfectly great reason for you to do that now. It's a lot of fun. From a first-party perspective, also playable today is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D, totally remastered with 3D visuals and improved graphics. And Kid Icarus Uprising, a familiar name, but an entirely new title from what you remember from those NES days. Make sure to try Kid Icarus to understand what targeting and shooting is like in a full 3D environment. At E3, we said the launch support from third parties would be greater for Nintendo 3DS than for any prior Nintendo launch in history. And today, we'd like to provide some proof. We have representatives from 7 different publishers here to answer your questions and to show off their 3D creations. There's no way I can give proper credit to all the titles here today, but I do want to spend a few minutes introducing you to a handful of key games and to let you hear from the developers behind them. At E3, some of you told me that Dead or Alive seemed an unusual choice for a Nintendo handheld. Today, you'll begin to understand why it makes perfect sense. It's not just fighting, it's also crashing your rival right through a 3D background, or jumping yourself through a mountainside to enter into a new arena. Yosuke Hayashi from Tecmo Koei has more.
デッドアライブシリーズっていうのはそのステージ、本当に立体的なステージの中で立体的な戦い方をするというのが、デッドアライブシリーズの今までですけども、今回 3D を得ることでそのステージ自体が本当にその立体感あっていることができるんですね。高い崖から下をこう覗くと本当にその高さを感じるようなものになってます。初めてこう 3D ファイティングゲームなんですけど、 3D を得ることで本当の 3D ファイティングゲームになったんじゃないのかなというふうに思ってます。任天堂 3DS の画面が実際に触っているよりもすごく大きく感じてもらえると思います。今回この開発の方でコンセプトしてますのが One More Time, One More Fight。 これは格闘ゲームを今まで遊んでたんだけども一回離れてしまった方ですとか、デッドアライブシリーズ自体も今回久しぶりになりますので、そういったデッドアライブシリーズに久しぶりに触れる方、そういった方にぜひ楽しんでもらいたいというキャッチコピーでやっています。この Nintendo 3DS でゲームの 3D のゲームっていうのを初めて触れる方が多いと思いますけども、これで何かゲームの新しい未来っていうのを感じていただけるんじゃないかなと思います。
One thing that developers understand is that the greater the depth in the gameplay environment, in other words, the greater the separation between foreground and background, the greater the impact of 3D visuals. That means, for example, in Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer 2011 3D, it's a new experience playing from the midfielder's viewpoint at ground level. You've got an entirely new sense whether your through ball will catch a teammate while he's still on sides. And the same point of view means a leap forward for EA's great Madden series. Equipped with their new Game Flow feature and running in full 3D. EA's Peter Moore has some thoughts on how this new version rewrites the Madden playbook.
So we're obviously very excited to bring our storied Madden NFL franchise to the Nintendo 3DS. from the perspective of the way the game is going to look and play, obviously we have optimized this experience for three-dimensional elements. We've taken the UI and the gameplay and brought it to life in a way that we've never seen before with this franchise. As regards the way the game will play, we're bringing it into a more simplistic manner, allowing people to get into the game quickly, either through our game flow play calling mechanic, which takes the entire NFL playbook and condenses it down to a singular play, and also our arcade style of play calling, which allows you to simply look at a scenario, whether it's 1st and 10 or 3rd and 2. We'll suggest the play, you say yes or no, the play runs. We at EA Sports couldn't be more proud and excited to bring the excitement of Madden NFL football to the Nintendo 3DS.
So as you'll discover today, there are many compelling features of Nintendo 3DS beyond 3D itself. And perhaps no title has been more ambitious in implementing them than the new Super Street Fighter IV 3D edition from Capcom. With Street Pass, you may win a battle without even knowing it. Producer Yoshinori Ono has more details.
この Nintendo 3DS の通信機能というところにすごく注目を置きました。ゲーム中で獲得したフィギュア、このフィギュアをですね、皆さんの Nintendo 3DS の中のデッキにセットしてもらいます。で、そのまま街に出て行ってください。いろんな対戦者の人とどんどんすれ違ってですね、いつの間にか対戦が行われている。これは全く今までの対戦格闘ゲームとは違った新しい形でのですね、皆さんの対戦体験っていうものを実感していただけるんじゃないかなと思っています。ローカル通信を使った対戦で、面と向かった人だけではなくってですね、普通に 1P で CPU と対戦している間にですね、いつの間にか対戦が始まってしまうっていうような機能を今回取り入れています。同じスーパーストリートファイター4を持っているプレイヤーたちが集まればですね、その僕と皆さんがプレイをしている様子が周りの人たちもですね、一緒に観戦することができる。それも 3D の表現の中で観戦することができるという観戦機能も取り入れています。さらに Wi-Fi 機能。いつの間にか誰とでも、そしてどこででもすぐ対戦が始まるっていう機能はこの Wi-Fi 機能でも搭載してあります。この Nintendo 3DS のですね、新しい通信機能、新しいパワーをですね、このスーパーストリートファイター4で体験してみてください。
So aside from what we've already mentioned, here's what else you'll be playing today. Asphalt 3D and Combat of Giants Dinosaurs 3D from Ubisoft. Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D from Capcom. Ridge Racer 3D from Namco Bandai. And Lego Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars from LucasArts. Great games are coming from all directions. I've got one last order of business up here. I need to fill in the blanks on some of the missing product details. So first, let's stick with games. There's still a couple titles whose exact launch date is not yet set. So for the time being, let me talk about what we call the launch window, the weeks between actual hardware availability and E3 in early June. In that period, counting from both Nintendo and third-party partners, we expect consumers to choose from more than 30 Nintendo DS games, Nintendo 3DS games. In terms of genre and selection, there will truly be something for everyone. Sports, action, shooter, fighter, family, racing, RPG. It will all be available at or very soon following launch day. Second, let's detail the software that comes with the system. There's an activity log application that tracks both physical movement and virtual action. It keeps track of which games you've played and for how long. A pedometer type application also encourages you to get up and walk. And these movements can also earn play coins that you can spend in compatible games and applications to acquire bonus content. Next is the Me Maker feature, similar to the one you already recognize from the Wii console. But instead of just starting the process from scratch, here you can also use the camera to take your own photo, and the hardware will automatically create your preliminary Me character. And you can make your own fine adjustments from there. Making Me's has never been easier. And those Me characters won't just appear in games. They'll also be among the content automatically swapped via Street Pass functionality. So in other words, when you carry your Nintendo 3DS system in sleep mode and pass another Nintendo 3DS owner doing the same thing, your Me characters will be exchanged. Then they'll gather in the Street Pass Me Plaza, and you can find out in which country that region, that new Me character was created, and the last software that the owner played. Face Raiders is a pre-installed game that's built by taking your own picture and inserting it into a shooting gallery of sorts. Even though it's your face, you're going to be surprised by what you see. Please give it a try today. Another outstanding feature springs from the AR cards that come packed with the hardware. All that's needed is a place to put one of those AR cards. You could put them anywhere. And while viewing through the outer-facing cameras, games will sprout right out in 3D fashion. And the gameplay environment will also include whatever else the camera sees in the background. It feels like magic, and it's been among the most popular features for people who've tested the system so far. An enhanced internet browser will also be available in addition to the 3D video player for pre-produced content. And Nintendo 3DS Sound, the same great audio software that was included with Nintendo DSi, will be pre-installed. But I do want to point out that while many of the features will come pre-installed with the hardware at launch, some will only become fully operational with simple system online updates performed after purchase. We've also designed the Nintendo 3DS to enhance the sense of community. And there's an important change in the way friend codes are implemented. With Nintendo 3DS, there's only one code necessary, and you only need to register it once. The codes are not software dependent. And when friends are registered via local wireless, the registration is instantaneous without the need to exchange the code. And you'll never have to input a code to play with those same friends online. You'll find out who's playing right now, what they're playing, and you can join them much more easily than was possible before. Community building can happen automatically. Street Pass connects nearby Nintendo 3DS systems with each other. The local wireless connection works whether you're in sleep mode or while you're playing another game. It can instantly exchange common game data. And Street Pass can include the transfer of Me characters, the exchange of gameplay data, as I just mentioned, and even head-to-head battles, all without you having to do a thing. In addition, Spot Pass makes contact with wireless broadband. So your Nintendo 3DS can access the internet and receive a wide variety of content. And this happens even when you're not aware of it. no matter what game is currently installed in your game slot, and even during the system's sleep mode. But to be clear, no such transfers occur unless you want them to. Finally, Nintendo 3DS owners will find it easier than ever to get access to digital game downloads. With the Nintendo eShop, a steady progression of Game Boy and Game Boy Color hits will become available on the Virtual Console, in addition to new downloadable software titles. Here's how. The first thing you'll see is a menu of category choices. Maybe you're interested in some Donkey Kong action, or the best-selling downloads, or games that are currently available at retail. For example, you might want a better sense of Pilot Wings Resort, or get a taste of Mid-Air Play in full 3D. Or it could be that today you just need some Mario, and diving deeper takes you to a wide range of Mario choices. In fact, it could take you all the way back to 1989 and the debut of Super Mario Land. The entire Nintendo eShop experience is simpler, smoother, and more robust. Of course, the key to understanding everything Nintendo 3DS has to offer is hands-on testing, just as you're about to enjoy. And to make sure as many Americans as possible have that opportunity, we're embarking on one of the most ambitious experiential marketing plans in history. More than 5,000 interactive units will give retail consumers a test drive of Nintendo 3DS in the launch period. And they'll be augmented by mobile units that will take the experience to the streets, reaching nearly 400,000 people during an 8-week launch campaign. In all, we intend to have more than 1 million Americans experience Nintendo 3DS firsthand through our programs this summer. Now, let's get down to the key news. When and how much? During our testing, focus group members were almost unanimous in saying that Nintendo 3DS was worth between $300 and $400, given everything it has to offer. But of course, we're not going there. Nintendo 3DS, with all the features we've described today, will be offered at a manufacturer's suggested retail price of $249.99. And when can you get your hands on it? We did previously announce we were targeting launch by the end of our fiscal year, or by March 31st. And I'm happy to announce we'll honor that promise. Nintendo 3DS will be on retail shelves across the US on March 27th. So thanks for your patience today, and I hope we've been able to convey that this isn't just the launch of another game device, but the start of a new entertainment era. Nintendo 3DS is 3D games plus 3D video plus 3D photography. No special glasses or skills required to enjoy it. And above all, Nintendo 3DS is distinct. It's a breakthrough. There's nothing else like it. It is a category of one. And with that, it's time to let you discover for yourself. Representatives from Nintendo and third-party publishers are on hand to show you the ropes and answer your questions. So momentarily, the curtains on your right will part, and you'll find more than 150 gameplay stations ushering you into the world of Nintendo 3DS. Thanks again, and enjoy.